Dude, nice guitar. Oh man, gosh, a Taylor, huh? Yeah. Hey, welcome to my Taylor Guitar 314 CE review. Just a few minutes, I want to go over this guitar and just kind of explain some of the basics of it and review it. I have been playing for a lot of years, but I haven't really gotten into the acoustic scene till, maybe 15 years ago. And I've played primarily bass during a lot of years there. And in 1998, I bought my first Taylor. It was a 310, which is their basic dreadnought, and that was the year that Taylor came out with the 300 level guitars, the 310, the 314, later on the 312. That level used to be the 400 series, but they wanted to add another wood to their lineup, Ovingol, so they made the 400 level with Ovingol, and they pushed the Sapele guitars down into the 300 level. Extremely good guitar. Taylor later added a 1 and 200 level guitar, which use a laminate back and side. The 300 level represents a solid wood guitar, and everything above that is also solid wood. When I say that, what I'm talking about is the back and the sides on a 1 and 200 level are laminate. It's like a piece of plywood, basically. But here in the 300 level guitars on up, they use a solid piece of wood. There's no laminate. And this one happens to be Sapele, which is an African wood. Has a lot of similarities tonally to mahogany. It's got some advantages. It's cheap, it's plentiful, and it's also got a good tone, and it's very strong. And that's one of the reasons why I like it. And it's my favorite smelling wood in a guitar. I've got another Taylor. I've got an 814, and over the years I've had 414s, I've had 510s, I've had 714s, I've had 814s, I've had Goodalls. As I've gotten older, and you can see that I am old, I've just gravitated towards just basic, simple, fundamental guitars. And so I don't have any Goodalls anymore, although I absolutely love them. I even had a Langens or two. But you know, right now, at this point in life, I am just happy and stoked over a 314. My daughter's got a 314 that is a 2003 model. It was one of the first ES 300 level guitars that came out. And my son has got a 2001 314 non-cutaway, non-pickup, just a straight acoustic guitar. And I've had, like I said, a 310. So I got this 314 here recently, just a few months ago. And really to use it in the context of playing worship, you can see that we are in a church right now, and I play worship at a church. And the 314 to me is just the perfect worship leader's guitar. It's not too fancy. You're not taking a $5,000 instrument up on stage and somebody's going to knock it over and you're always in fear. Yet you've got a good, solid, quality guitar that's going to stay in tune, and it's solid wood, and it just sounds great. So let's go over some of the features of this real quick. The top is Sitka spruce. Sitka is the most commonly used top wood nowadays. Adirondack used to be years ago, but there's not enough of that left to mass produce it. So Sitka spruce is what we get. It's a good, strong, light, stiff pine conifer that is great for guitar woods. Taylor takes all of their tops and they rate them, they grade them, so to speak, and the lower grades of wood tops end up on their 1, 2, 3, 400 level guitars, and as you get up into your 7s, 8, and your 900 level guitars, you get perfectly straight grain. Everything's flawless on it. And so on the 300, 400 level guitars, you get a little more flaws. And by flaws, I'm not meaning mistakes or anything that's going to hurt the sound or the quality or the longevity of the guitar. Top woods are graded on their width of grain, consistency of grain. If you've got grain that's just all over the map, really tight, and goes to really wide, then back to really tight, that's a lower that's a lower level of top. And so on the higher end guitars, they're looking for uniformity in grain and no aberrations in the wood. You'll see this has bear claw wood, bear claw markings, which are not bears, and they're also not a problem. I like bear claw. In fact, if it had more, I'd appreciate it even more. It adds character. But Taylor doesn't typically put bear claw tops on their upper end guitars. So what I look for, even on a 300 level guitar, because they differ. My daughter's guitar top is way different than this one. She's got real wide space grain. But I'm looking for grain that's fairly tight and it's fairly uniform. Typically builders will put the tightest grain in the middle at the seam. There's a glue seam that goes down the middle of almost every guitar. They're two-piece. A top is typically two pieces. They typically put the wider grain out at the edge. The tighter grain goes in the middle. It's the same piece of wood that's book matched. It's like taking a piece of wood, cutting it down the middle, and then they do that and they glue it together, and that becomes the guitar top. The other thing that I look for besides grain consistency and straightness and evenness and closeness is what's called a medullary ray. And when you take a piece of wood and you cut it 90 degrees to the grain, a quarter sawn piece of wood, what you get, a phenomenon in most wood varieties, is these medullary lines that go 90 degrees. They're perpendicular to the grain, and they're kind of like waves. And if you get one that's really, really dramatic, it's just an awesome top. But so this one had that. It had everything that I wanted in a 300 level top, because I've seen some that were pretty gnarly, you know, just not good wood. Same thing with the back and the sides. Sapele typically is not a well-figured wood in their guitars. This one is more so than most by far, and I've even seen others that are more so. But you'll see that there's some grain here, there's some figuring, dark streaks and light streaks. I personally like that. And if you can find that in Sapele wood, that's great. Again, you'll get the medullary rays if it was the top or the bottom, the back was cut in a 90-degree fashion. Necks are mahogany. That's all I think that Taylor uses right now are mahogany necks, with the exception of the 600 level guitars, which are maple. But pretty much just a basic guitar. It does have ebony fretboard, which is good. Some cheaper guitars use a synthetic material, but ebony's, that's the standard, that's the gold standard. Solid wood, solid construction, strong, fairly light. Sapele smells great. I just absolutely love the smell of it. They're good sounding guitars, very fundamental in tone. That means that they don't have a lot of overtone activity. That's real pretty. I have an 814 over at home, and it's got that real reverby kind of sound. It's just beautiful sound. But if you're strumming, if you're leading worship, you're playing in a band, you're on stage, none of that really matters. You know, you can take an 800 level guitar up on a stage, you know, and you're not going to hear anything out of it that's different. When you start amplifying that sound, it just kind of takes away a lot of the subtleties of the wood, and none of the accoutrements of an expensive guitar with the inlays means any difference anyway. So that's why I like the 314 guitar. There's not a lot of fancy inlays around the hole. There's not fancy, you know, markers on the fretboard. It's just a good solid guitar. Street price, if you are finding a good dealer, it's going to be about 40% off the suggested list. So right now it means a 314 is going to be around $1,400, maybe a little more, a little less, depending on tax or shipping charges. So that's the Taylor 314 CE. Wonderful guitar, highly recommend it. It's good for everything, and you will not be disappointed. Thank you.